The top story today is about bias against men in the mainstream media. And, you know, falsely accusing men of sexual harassment and sexual assault is no longer a national pastime of just modern women. Uh, KTLA, a Los Angeles news station that's pretty popular, wants to jump right on the bandwagon. They've posted this story yesterday, essentially doing just that. Woman sexually assaulted in West Hollywood by a man. And then the article proceeds to talk about no, what do you call those? Oh, yeah, evidence whatsoever of that happening. As a matter of fact, the article describes that a man and a woman met on a dating app and then in person. They don't talk about how late she was for the date, but they spent a few hours together, according to this article, and then went to a hotel room willingly. And on the first date, when a man and a woman go to a hotel room, there's only one reason for that. Yeah, right? And then apparently she felt right, because feelings are much more important than evidence nowadays, then the sexual assault happened. But again, no evidence whatsoever. And I've looked high and low, and I used the help of my now best friend's chat GPT to look for any other news article about this ever happening, including the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department's Twitter page. And I found absolutely no evidence whatsoever. Now, this article was written by Travis Schlepp, who apparently schlepped through his journalistic integrity 101 class. And I know I'm not the one who should be making fun of people's last names, but nevertheless, he is a man, which I guess tells me that this is not just for women anymore. Now, don't get me wrong. This could very well be what just happened. Very well be something that really did happen, but there's absolutely no evidence of it right now whatsoever. And by the way, if you don't know, KTLA is more than capable of reporting correctly on an event like this, just like they did the other day in like 3 days ago. They have literally reported on another, unfortunately this time looks like it's a real sexual assault case, in this video where they've posted the evidence, the picture, the interviews, and the reports from the police, the interviews with the witnesses. And it happened in the middle of the dark public place where people rarely go for sexual encounters. So they absolutely know how to do that. But apparently in this case they accepted a homework that should have been graded at F. There is absolutely no evidence here, and this is essentially what my sort of a beef with this is, because there is no punishment for this. There is no punishment. This is the reason why women do it. This is the reason why media does it, right? They can just report this. And I know they did not name the man uh, yet. But just the fact that they said, well, as long as a woman have her feelings hurt and she feels that this is what happened, well, then the man must be guilty, right? How many times we've seen that? And the thing is, when a woman does this, which again, in this case, I'm not saying it didn't happen. I'm just saying there are no evidence of this happening, and that's the problem. When a woman accuses a man of a sexual assault, and if there are no evidence, the reason it goes as far as it does nowadays is because two types of entities believe her without evidence. One is a police department. A lot of times, how many times we wait for years for somebody to get acquitted? Like, we just had a story about 5 hockey players who got acquitted 7 years later after the accusations, where there were really no evidence. As a matter of fact, the judge who made the decision said there were absolutely no evidence in that case that this happened. The story of a victim was, and I'm doing it in air quotes because she wasn't a victim. The victim were the men. She just happened to make a lot of money on that story because she had it settled with Hockey Canada. But the men were the victims, right? And yet the prosecutor went ahead with the trial through the mistrial, through so many things. And a second very important entity that believes women on their word is the media, right? So if the media believes it, that's when the story blows up. And that's how you ruin this men's lives. Because when it gets out on social media, but the mainstream media. And apparently, there are absolutely no responsibilities whatsoever to do this. And the fact that it's a male, or usually it's a female reporter who, says, well, sure, why not? Let's accuse a man of something we have no evidence of him doing. Why not? There is no punishment. But the fact that the men did this, it's a disgrace. And I did reach out to him. I publicly reached out on he. By the way, I don't know why a reporter for social media and the web page for the KTLA does not have a very good online presence. Maybe that was a red flag for me. But I contacted him on Threads and LinkedIn publicly. And I also contacted KTLA-5 for a comment. It's been a minute and they haven't replied, which I guess what are they going to say? Sorry, we're not doing our job. Hopefully we'll learn our lessons. No, of course they're not. Now, if they ever reply, I will absolutely report it back to you guys. But right now, I don't really expect them. Every time, as a matter of fact, I'm doing a story and I reach out to a company, they don't want to reply. The only time that happened was when one of the UK police departments decided to start investigating and arresting British men for catcalling, which is not illegal at all. That police department actually did reply to me, and we had a back and forth until they realized that, and they stopped talking to me. But it usually doesn't happen because nobody seems to care in the first place. In the live chat, The Rock says the goal of any media is to profit. They have to cater to women since the women are the biggest consumers, while men don't consume as much. We are materialistic while women constantly go to shops. Well, I mean, some of it we can argue, right? Because men do make the biggest purchases usually, which are the cars and houses, and even that I'm sure is skewing the other way around. But you're right that media is there to profit. But this all goes down to men never really taking pride and having self-respect, American men, right, in this case, and fighting back, right? It's not that hard for men to organize and say, nope, nope, you're not going to make it look like fucking idiots in the detergent commercials. And no, you're not going to report on us this way, where we all seem to be guilty all the time of sexual assault. We're not going to do that. We're going to boycott either the news station or the sponsors or the people, so, but we don't do it. As I mentioned before, the only time men have bonded together recently is because their favorite beer hired a trans person for marketing purposes, right? All of a sudden, all men got organized, Kid Rock, front row. But when we're getting our rights taken away from us legally and socially, when we essentially are made into the predators, where, the recent trend of women picking a bear over a man, though that have yet been tested, and I would love to test that one of these days. Um, until we organize, gentlemen, we're going to be continuously guilty until proven innocent. And it's not that easy to be proven innocent when women's feelings are being used as evidence. Until then, this is going to happen over and over and over again. And I will be reporting consistently on these headlines. But if KTLA-5 decides to get back to me, I will definitely update it. But don't hold your breath. If you want to ditch modern women and move abroad for more traditional relationships, go to themillionmanproject.com, take my most comprehensive course, and change your life.